Okay, so hello everyone, and welcome to this episode of Meet Free. Oh my God, Meet the Goddess. I am just too excited today. So I am welcoming on the show Kat Shaw, which is an amazing artist. I came across her art first, and then I got to meet her, and I discovered that then behind your art, there's also teaching to children, and then there's the Reiki, and then there's goddess training that she does. So there's so much more. And then also there's these beautiful projects that Cat Show has just been bringing on recently, and Survivor is one that is actually particularly close to my heart, as I qualify as a survivor. So here we are with Cat Show, and I'm welcoming you, Kat. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me. So I'm very excited.
That is so good. And I am also going to show this video to my daughters, because the first thing that they say when they saw your picture was, oh, she has pink hair. Which is like, oh my God.
How old are your daughters? How old are your daughters?
They're 10 and 6.
Oh, listen, you wait, because my daughter's 14 and she is mortified by the pink hair. She would do anything for me to have normal hair, and every day, every time I re-dye it, she huffs and puffs, and she's mortified. So I'm really glad that your daughters like my hair.
No, my daughters wanted me to have pink hair as well. I just don't think I'm quite ready yet.
No, my daughter would do anything for me to have not pink hair.
So
the teenage life.
Yeah, that's where it gets exciting, isn't it?
Exactly.
So just to start a little bit, I would love if you could just give us a little bit of backstory about yourself, and I don't know, whatever you feel inspired to share with us. That's how you started maybe with your art, or how whatever your journey has been, and whatever you feel comfortable sharing. I'd love to hear that.
Right. Well, how long have you got? I can talk for hours. So,
okay,
my name's Kat, obviously. I know. Do you stop me if you need to?
Okay.
So I did a fine art degree millions and millions of years ago, and then went travelling and didn't really look at it again. Went travelling for about 8 years, and then came home, had my lovely daughter. I've been a single mum since she was 4 weeks old. So we've grown up together, just us two really. She's, like I said earlier, she's 15 next week actually. So we're now in the teenage years. And what happened was, when she was about 1 or 2, I trained to be a teacher and started teaching. Sorry, I'm moving because my cats are here and my dog's here.
Yeah, it's fine.
And I'm trying to stop them knocking the tripod over. So if you see me doing bizarre movements, it's because I'm stroking at various different rescue animals.
That's perfect.
Anyway, so I trained to be a teacher and was a class teacher and worked as a teacher for about 6 or 7 years, which I really loved, but I didn't hugely get behind the national curriculum in England. I found it was very restrictive to academia, to the core subjects, to maths, science and literacy, which I see there is a place for them. It's amazing, but it was very driven towards that. So I left primary school teaching to become an art teacher in a secondary school, in a boys' school, which was really interesting because boys and art didn't mix when I first went there, but by the time I left, boys and art most definitely did mix. They loved it. And then I went back to primary school teaching, but just as an art teacher, which I really, really loved. And I still do that. I'm still doing 3 afternoons a week. And I was running my Reiki business. I was organising and putting on conferences for mental health for children and teenagers, which were really successful. The year before last, I did 3 conferences in 1 year. I was running my wellbeing business, my mindfulness business, teaching, bringing up my daughter, running about 3 billion miles an hour at all times. Hadn't done any art or anything, and just as an art teacher. And then a couple of years ago, my daughter got poorly. It was May 2018. My daughter got poorly, and she ended up, it's a very long story, which I won't bore you with, but basically we ended up being housebound for a while. I say a while, I'm talking months. I'm talking about 9 months or something like that. then we went to live in hospital. She got rehab to walk again. And in that time, obviously I'm on my own with her. I was her main carer. I had to stop work. I had to look after her basically 24/7. We were living in a flat. We didn't have a garden. We didn't go out at all because we couldn't. She couldn't move. And I did what people do. Well, I did what I do. My way of reacting is to eat. So we'd gone from being really sporty. I was playing netball. She was playing netball. We were doing Krav Maga. I was running every day. We were really active. We were really fit. Then we went to nothing. And so I ate as well. And I ate chocolate and crisps and upset and anxious and depressed and worried and fed up and stuck in and bored. And I ate and ate and ate. And I put on about 4 stone in that 9 months, which is absolutely outrageous. But that's what happened, because obviously the exercise has stopped and the consumption of eating had gone up. Anyway, I then went to Glastonbury. I went to visit Glastonbury for the first time ever. In amongst it all, I had a day off where her dad, who wasn't hugely involved at all, and I say that, and that really means basically nothing, but he came up for one day to look after her, and I got in the car and I drove to Glastonbury. I'd never ever been before. I'd been to the festival, but that's all I knew Glastonbury for. I didn't know the village. I didn't know the town. I didn't know anything about Glastonbury. And I walked into a shop and there were all these paintings of goddesses all around and statues of goddesses and this goddess stuff. And I kind of went, oh, like my heart was beating, and I was like, this is what I need to do. This is what, oh, hang on, the cats, get your foot off the tripod. There we go. And I was really excited, and it was like an awakening. I didn't know anything about the goddess kind of consciousness or anything like that. And then I was talking to her in the shop, and she said to me, oh, there's a goddess temple just over the courtyard. So up I went into this goddess temple, not knowing anything about it. And sorry, cat tripod, he's gone off for a snooze now, so we should be all right. I can stop stroking now. At that precise moment, my life changed totally and utterly. It sounds dramatic, it sounds ridiculous, but I just looked around and just thought, not even the god, obviously I was feeling goddess energy, but it was the artwork for me. It was like, look at all this creativity, look at all this female, amazing, beautiful artwork around. So anyway, I went off home, was like, oh my God, that's amazing. Started my training as a priestess of Avalon, which is all to do with goddess consciousness and connecting to the land in Glastonbury and Avalon. Anyway, that was that. But I was still eating and I still hadn't started painting yet. My daughter had another relapse in March 2019, where she became bedbound again. So again, we were in. And again, I'd gone back to work, but again, I was back at home, and it was really quite hideous. And the eating started again, even though I was still carrying the weight from the time before. And I was really pretty disgusted with myself, with my body. I'd always been quite slender, you know, but at this moment, I really am not, and I wasn't, and I couldn't bear to look at myself in the mirror, but I couldn't exercise, and I was just still eating, and it got into this vicious circle. And what happened was, it was round about the time of Beltane, so it was May 2019, last year, so not even really a year ago, which is really exciting. But it's May 2019, and I was connecting to the goddess Rhiannon, who's the goddess of that season for me personally, the goddess of love, the goddess of sexuality, the goddess of self-love and your body and stuff like that. And I had this message that I needed to start drawing myself exactly 100% as I was, because the message was that goddess is within us. You know, the way I see it is that we're not separate from goddess. You know, we are goddess. We are these amazing, divine, feminine creatures.
Yeah.
But I wasn't feeling like that at all. And I was looking around for some artwork to stimulate me, to make me feel like that I could relate to that artwork as goddess. And although the goddess art is beautiful, there wasn't anything that I felt represented me. There wasn't any, it was all very whimsical and love, which is gorgeous, but that wasn't me. I was in the middle of a shitstorm. I was in the middle of my life collapsing. and I was 4 stone overweight, you know. So anyway, I had this message from Rhiannon to start drawing myself, totally naked, totally and utterly real, really as it was. So that's what I started doing, and I was drawing and I was drawing and I was drawing, and then I was adding glitter, and I was finding it difficult. I couldn't look in the mirror and think, yeah, you're beautiful, but I could look at the drawing with glitter added and pink and sparkly, and you know, and it became my stepping stone to be able to love myself again and being able to feel empowered in my body again. It wasn't me saying this is my way, I'm going to stay like this. It was me saying this is the way I am right this second, and regardless of how I look, I need to love my body. I need to love, you know, regardless of whether I lose the weight, whether I put on more, right that second, I needed to love my body. So that's what I started doing, and that's how I started painting. And then other women were saying, wow, you know, what is this? What are you doing? I hate myself. I hate my body. Can you paint me as well? Can you draw me? And the more I did it, the more it just opened my eyes. It was like the veil had been lifted, and there was this whole body of women out there who really didn't love themselves at all. They were walking around, you know, and this goes back to my point at the beginning, the education system focuses on maths, science, literacy. It wasn't focusing on the arts, but also how about self-love? How about empathy? How about compassion to others? The education system doesn't instill that into us at this young age. So there's this whole band of women out there who just don't love themselves, and who are waking up every day looking in the mirror, looking at their wrinkles, looking at their rolls, looking at their fat ass and their cellulite, and they're really revolted by it. Actually, if you're changing your mindset, it doesn't mean that that's the way that, you know, you have to stay forever, but it means that you are loving yourself as the divine feminine. You know, whatever your body is like right that second, you love it and you honor it and you give thanks. So that's how everything started. And I devised round about Rhiannon time last year, so round about Beltane, May. I work on the Wheel of Avalon in my head because of my Priestess of Avalon training. I move around the Wheel of Avalon, so everything I talk to people about, it goes back to a season. So I know when it was in the year because of the season that it corresponds to. So when I say, oh, Beltane, that's because that's how I remember things. So May 2019 is when I wonder if I've got the painting. Actually, I could show you. I came up with the Wheel of Avalon. So the 8 different seasons of the year, but represented as beautiful, voluptuous goddesses, and they were all real women. And I just put a note out on Facebook saying, does anyone want to pose for the Wheel of Avalon? And I created Domnu, Kerr, Bamba, Ceridwen, Danu, Bridie, Arthur, and Rhiannon. So these 8 gorgeous goddesses, plus the Lady of Avalon who sits in the middle. And then I had an exhibition at Lamas, which was July time, and it kind of took off from there. It's gone on to loads of different projects, but I'll stop talking for now because you might want to direct the conversation in a different way. But from that one trauma of my daughter being so ill that we became housebound, it totally, because I had to stop, you know, I was a million miles an hour doing everything, and I physically had to stop. It gave me time to paint, it gave me time to reflect, it gave me time to be able to start a new movement in self-love, really.
Yeah. Oh my God, there is actually so much there that you're after talking about that. It's like, which topic
I know,
to
I'm
pick?
sorry.
No, don't apologize. But like definitely that goddess essence within, it's something that for me it's such a core message, is what I just talk about all the time. It's like that essence, and it has been dampened and shamed and put in a box and stepped over, and everything has been done to that essence, but it still shines. And that's why your new projects, The Survivor and Still I Rise, and we'll talk about that in a minute, that just was like, yeah, I get it, because despite the scars, despite where we are, despite what we've been through, we're still here, and that flame hasn't been put off. And it took me a
Absolutely.
long time to realize that that flame was still there, but once you realize it, it's like, oh yeah. It's
Yeah.
gorgeous. And I have actually seen the wheel with all the goddesses in one of your posts on Facebook, and I find it absolutely gorgeous. So
Yeah.
definitely, whether you have it here or I can share it afterwards as well, I can put it in when we share this interview. Um, so to just keep with your project for now, and then we can talk about the other things that are coming
Okay.
up. Um, Survivors. Let's talk about that for a moment.
Yes. My
Because
latest
yeah, go ahead. And what inspired you? I'm assuming it's, well, definitely your story and all the beautiful
yeah.
stories of the women that you come in contact. But yeah, let's talk about that.
Absolutely. Well, it's funny as well that you picked up on the fact that that the strength of the woman is pushed to the side. You know, we live in this patriarchal society where we are basically dominated by the male thoughts, by the male god, by this, by that, by the other, you know. And actually, my work is all about women coming together, a sisterhood. You know, there's a lot of stuff. Like I said, my daughter's coming up for 15. The girls at school, you know, women as in general, it's a really difficult situation to be in sometimes because of the way that society is. There's lots of bitchiness and jealousy and this, that, and the other. And so my whole life is about now bringing women together,
Yes.
empowering women. Actually, we rise together. And if we are together, we're strong. We're a collective. This flame cannot be put out. And the more women that are thinking about it, it's igniting, you know, their past lives, their ancestors, the everything that's happening now. They're remembering. Actually, I am goddess. I am goddess, and the flame's lit. And then another woman joins and says, yeah, that's me as well. And then another woman joins and says, yeah, that's me. So that's basically where this project came from. Because I was painting these beautiful women with their bodies, and they were talking about self-love, and it was wonderful. And then I took it one step further to think, actually, what is making us strong? How are we strong? How can we connect to goddess? Our bodies are really, really important. They're our physical bodies that we've got for this life, but some have been through, you know, cancer, chemotherapy, operations. We all carry trauma. We all carry scars. We all carry visible or invisible scars. I don't know how else to say it. We've all been through stuff, you know, that makes us the people we are today. So again, I get onto Facebook and I started thinking about, because first of all, I was concentrating on the fact that a real body is beautiful. A woman's real body, without the airbrushing and the filters and everything that we now think is the norm. What a load of crap. You know, the norm is a real woman's body with a nipple that points downwards, or, you know, an extra roll here or there. And then I took it one step further, thinking, what about when your body has been through something? You know, how can you still see yourself as beautiful then? I got onto Facebook, typing away, who's got scars, who wants to be painted for this Survivors project? And it totally and utterly erupted. I ended up doing 85 paintings in this last one. And it's about taking women's bodies with scars, visible or invisible, and sharing their story in order to empower them as survivors, and in order to empower all the other women who are out there who've been through the same, to make them feel like they're not alone, and to help them to get the healing that they can from these. For instance, I've got a few. Shall I show them to you?
Absolutely, go ahead. Yes.
So I've got the whole stack in front of me. There's 85 paintings that I did. The first few I'll just share. So what happened was, I painted these gorgeous women, and then they shared their story. So they told me what they'd survived, and I wrote it. This one says, I survived the death of my child. Like, how hideous is that? I wrote it on acetate. So what they can do, they then get to peel their story off, and the strap line and Still I Rise stays on the painting. because the whole point behind it is that these are our stories. This has happened to us. We cannot erase it from our past, but we can release it and know that our story carries on. It's not our ending. It's not set in stone. It's not written because we have another ending. So they shared their story and they shared their things. So we've got various different things: OCD, addiction, rape, abuse, cancer, suicidal thoughts, financial abuse. You know, the list is endless of these beautiful. Here's a gorgeous one: breast cancer. So she sent a beautiful picture of her breast with the scarring on there. ME, miscarriage, everything you can think of. Well, not everything you can think of, but quite a lot of things you think of. Chronic illness, surgery that disfigured me. I'm looking at them because I'm trying to think of one. Trauma therapy, a car crash. This gorgeous, beautiful angel was cut out of a car. She survived a car crash. Incest, abuse. The list goes on. I'm flicking past all these lovely women who have given themselves to me. They've sent paintings, splenectomy, cancer, you know, bulimia. This is a really hard-hitting one. I survived bulimia. This beautiful woman, and actually she can now bring her story back and release it. I'll just show you one more. This one got so many comments. This amazing survivor has written her story, and it's about how she lives every day with suicidal thoughts and how she gets over it and how she can rise and how that can happen. And do you know what happened? I leave everyone's face blank in anorexia. Here's another one, because that for me is like a mirror. So the women who are seeing these don't see a face, they can see a mirror reflected back. So someone sees this and says, I survived anorexia. Wow, that's me. That's me as well. That's the person. That's the, you know, I survived an emotionally abusive relationship. That's me reflected back. And through their story, not only do these women realize that they're not on their own, but they realize, do you know what? This woman survived what I have, and they've got through it and they've come through the other side. And it's really been amazing because this sisterhood everyone's come together. So not only are we honoring the female body, not only are we looking at the beauty of the female body, but we're also looking at the sheer grit, you know, of these women who say, I am goddess because this has happened to me and I have risen. I've risen through it. It's either been at the hands of illness or at the hands of, you know, someone who has raped you, or something has happened. You know, we've all gone through these things, but still we get up every single day and we rise. And I'll tell you something really exciting that came from that. I put a photo up of myself when I had dark hair, and it says, and still I rise. And then without even prompting anything, I got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of photos of women and they'd written on it, and still I rise, and they just kept sending them to me and sending them to me and sending them to me. And these beautiful women, I printed them all out and had them up in my exhibition, because it just became this. Honestly, one day in the midst of it, when I just launched the project, I got about 600 messages and tags and photos sent to me of these women who were just like, yes, this is it. I am a survivor and I rise as well. And it just was amazing. So, I'm still quite emotional about it, actually, because it was 85 paintings that I did. And I thought, yeah, this is great. I can have an impact on these 85 women. I didn't realise that my Facebook page went up about 3,000 likes, and women, just so many women, you know, who could see it and who could appreciate it and who could honour the fact that they too were goddesses, because they too could rise, you know. So that's my latest project.
That is, I'm telling you like a little story about that. So I'm one of your photos with Still I Rise, because when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, yeah. I sent it. But that was like, for me, was really important, because it was one of the, like, I've spoken about my story a lot, and you know, with my family and stuff, I can talk, my partner, but I had never put it out there really, just to actually say, okay, yeah, I remember even when there was an hashtag Me Too going around, I didn't put it
Yeah,
out because, you know, like people know you and blah, blah, blah. There's all
yeah,
these stories in your head. But so when I did that, I felt really good. And I showed it to my partner. I was like, look, I'm after sending this photo. But when you then had the post where you were showing all the photos, I called my daughters and I was like, look, just keep looking and see if you can see mommy here. And they were like, oh my
yeah,
God, mom, that was you. I was like, yeah, because
yeah,
I'm here. So even just the introduction, for me, that was like the introduction to the fact that I have been wounded, that there has been an abuse, but I can actually begin to share it with my daughters in a safe way for them to start feeling into my story. That's me, yes. That's the one. But that's, and there's so many women, and it's so important. It's like it's so important. What you're doing is amazing, because to connect these women, to actually show them that they're not alone, that we're not alone, that we've all been through something, and that brings together that stopping to be competitive, and as you mentioned, to be bitchy about each other, to
yeah,
just wanting to put each other's down. We have all been put down at some point, and
yeah,
together we can rise. And that's
yeah,
why this whole project for me was and is so amazing what you're doing.
yeah.
And I'm delighted that it's
And
successful.
also, it's sorry, I was going to say, and also, it's really important for everybody to know that on the outside we look like this, on the inside nobody knows what's going on, you know. And it came about in February when the Be Kind thing was going around. It's really important to practice compassion, because we do not know what anybody has been through, you know. We do not know. And as you said when you were talking to your daughters, as I said, my daughter, bless her, I love her to bits, but she's a teenager and she's just like, oh, another naked person, another naked woman. She's quite used to it. But she does, in her little way, as a teenager, she did say, you know, I am really proud of you. And it is sinking into her
It
on
is.
some level, because also we're teaching the next generation of women that
Yes.
they will be resilient. You
Yes.
know, with these paintings, not only are we saying, yeah, we rise, but we're teaching them, do you know what? Your mum was a survivor, and look at the resilience I've got. Whatever happens to you in the future, you will rise, you know. So it's affecting this generation of women who are the survivors, but also the next generation of our daughters and their daughters and our granddaughters. Actually, we need to start this movement up now, because they will then know that whatever happens, their resilience will carry them through.
Yes. And I
Yeah.
suppose also with how you bring forward the goddess in all your paintings,
Mm.
um, we are actually teaching our daughters to set their boundaries in a way that they're
100%.
not going to hopefully be through the same amount of shaming and boxing
Yeah,
that we've been through. You
yeah,
know, just I don't know, I always, when I look at my daughters, I sort of have the hope that I can show them a way that will lessen the amount of crap that they have to go through. I
100%.
can't protect them from everything, but I can
Yeah,
show them tools and ways. And if they're aware of that power inside of them, maybe they'll be able to do it a little bit easier,
yeah.
maybe.
Well, we're sat in front of Carly. Carly's my favourite painting I've ever done. One of the, no, I would say she is actually the ultimate favourite painting I've ever done. And this is the original. I normally sell the originals. I couldn't sell her. She stayed right with me, and she sits on the wall the whole time. You know, my daughter feels the energy. She knows about goddesses. It's not her thing yet. She's not into it, but she talks about it all with me. I talk about it all the time. She knows the fact that actually women are warriors. You know, we're
Yeah,
strong. We've got this place that doesn't have to be dominated by a man. It doesn't have to be, you know, we don't have to have the rules set out by anyone else. We can
yeah,
create them. We can destroy what we don't want, and we can rebuild it again the way that we want it to be. And I think that's really important. But quickly on that note, it's funny you should talk about the male female thing, because my whole ethos in the painting is that it is goddess consciousness. It's
yeah,
women becoming empowered. And society doesn't generally like that. because we're in this male-dominated society. And what's really funny is that my paintings are not sexual in any way. They are about empowering women. They're not about women being sexual creatures. They're about women being the source, women being the power. And I often get blocked on Facebook. It's a regular occurrence that Facebook blocks. I put a painting up, heaven forbid I should share nipples or pubic hair or anything like that, and the post comes down straight away because it's been blocked, because lots of people see it as sexual. Facebook is obviously run by a male dominated, you know, point of view that sees my paintings as sexual, and therefore it's inappropriate to share something sexual on Facebook, where you look at Instagram or something like that, and a lot of these filters, a lot of selfies that people put up are an awful lot more sexual than any painting that I could ever do. So I found it really interesting to come up against the fact that people find my paintings sexual, because they're not. They have a totally different energy, but obviously it's the male side of it that sees them as sexual. I've had to block quite a few people from my page for actually writing sexual comments underneath. Someone wrote something once, oh, she's got a lovely bush or something like that. See you later. You know, that's not what this page is about. It's not about a woman standing there for a male to be able to say, wow, you've got a lovely bush. It's about women standing in their own power, for other women to say, I honour you as goddess, and I see you as a sister, and I honour you. And it's the real difference in the way that you think about women and nakedness.
Yes, absolutely. It's a topic that we've actually been talking about with my partner quite a bit. I think recently I was like, well, you know what? I actually would love to just be able to go around naked, because my daughters do that all the time. We live in the countryside. We're very remote, so we don't have many neighbors at all, and we have a bit of land, and so they just run around in the field naked. In the summer you see them like it's just gorgeous to actually see them so comfortable with that, and they're teaching me to actually rediscover that there is a whole different aspect. I mean, our body are just the way they are, and they're beautiful, and we were able to express and feel the air on the skin and just move, and without all of these needing to hide and because what other people will think. But ultimately I believe even these people that were commenting on your Facebook page and stuff is just their projection. And
100%. And it doesn't
them,
mean to say that we can't be sexual as women. It's not saying that, you know, look at Rhiannon, the goddess. Another up there with Kali is Rhiannon for me, the goddess of love. And she's all about sexuality. You know, she's all about having your boobs out. She's always depicted with no top on at all, but it's about having your own boundaries. It's about, as a woman, being able to say when you want to be seen like that and when you want to be seen. You know, it's about the goddess consciousness of being a woman in your power and being able to honor yourself and love yourself and be who you want to be. Without having these frameworks put on us, you know, the society's frameworks that are meant to define the way that we are. That's not for me.
No, I have an allergic reaction to that.
I do. Ooh.
So we were talking about your projects and stuff, and I know that you have there some affirmation cards as well that you do sell and make.
Before I started the Survivors Project, I was working on an empowering project called, let me show you, Imperfectly Fabulous, Empowering Affirmation Cards for the 21st Century Goddess. And this is where it started with me. This is where I started to draw myself. I am a goddess. There we go. That was the first ever drawing. And then it developed into 75 different drawings of different women. And I made them into a set of affirmation cards, as you can see. Kind of this lot of all carry around in my bag. They're very well used. But you've got the woman on the front. I searched for the goddess and found her within. This is a real woman. And then on the back, there's a daily affirmation to lift people up. So again, we've got I'm a goddess, and there's an affirmation on the back. I shine so brightly that even the stars blink. There's another woman, and the affirmation on the back. So I had these all printed up. I'll just flick a few more through.
They're
A priestess lives
beautiful.
with curves. They're just angel, lion, warrioress, wild woman, mother, priestess, queen, goddess. I am them all. You know, so they were painted by me. I radiate beauty, and they've got their affirmation on the back that you can see. I'm so
Yes.
much more beautiful than I was yesterday, and tomorrow I'll be even more beautiful than today. And this is just because, do you know what, in this world it's really easy to be thinking oh, I'm not good enough, I'm not as good as that person, I'm not good, you know, with age you sag a bit, or this or that or the other, you know. And these cards, 75 of them, are just a little reminder that we all have different shapes. There's not only voluptuous women here, because you know what, it's really funny the amount of online stuff you get. Oh, you haven't done any slim women, you've only done voluptuous women. There's women of all different shapes and sizes. I am enough. You know, I am enough is one of the most important things we can say to ourselves.
Yes.
It's important to wake up every single morning, pick a card, start off with some positive affirmation so that you can take that through the day. Because listen, this world knocks you down and down and down, and it has to be, you know, it has to be within us, the fact that we are our own goddess. You know, we are our own goddess. We are singing for ourselves, we're fighting for ourselves, and we are bringing ourselves into this consciousness that these lines tell the story of my life. We're bringing ourselves into a place where we can rise above the other stuff that's going on. You know, we can rise above the patriarchy, we can rise above the social confines, we can know deep within our soul that we are goddess.
Yes.
And that we are enough. And that's what these cards are all about. I fall in love with myself every day. It's just a little reminder to
Yes.
women that, look, oh, the ecstasy of being me. It's also a reminder that actually it's all right for us to honour ourselves, because we're so busy putting ourselves at the bottom of the pile. We're mother, we're wife. I mean, I'm not, I'm a single mum, so I'm mum. I'm not wife or girlfriend, but I am daughter, I'm sister, I'm, you know, friend. And we go to the bottom of the pile as we serve other people. You know, if someone said to you, oh, your hair looks nice today, you go, oh no, I've just washed it. Or that's a nice top, that's a nice top. Oh, it's only cheap, don't worry. You know, we're always constantly going, oh, no. You know, why can't we stand up? There's a difference between egotistical and loving yourself. Why can't we stand up and say, do you know what? Yes, I've got pink hair. Aren't I amazing? Isn't that fantastic? I've wanted pink hair my whole life. I'm 44 and now I have pink hair. Thank you. Thank you for liking my pink hair. You know, that's all right to say that.
Yes.
You know, that's all right. It's all right to wake up and say, I am the truth of unconditional self-love. I am unstoppable. It's all right to wake up and to look in the mirror and to say, yeah, today I like my hair, I like my body, I like this, I like that. We're used to having to push ourselves down and not take the compliments and not stand up in a crowd and say, yeah, do you know what? I do like myself. I am a goddess. I do have the goddess flame within, and I will shine, and that's all right.
Yes.
You know, so it's about reclaiming yourself as well, and that's what these cards are. Pure power. You know, I have my own permission to be glorious every day. We have this permission as women, but we don't get taught that. We get told that we have to be humble and we have to be mild and we have to be meek and we have to put ourselves down, you know, in society, while men are allowed to go out there and rise and, you know, whereas we as women go, oh, don't, oh, thank you, I've just washed my hair, it's fine, you know. So that's what these cards are about. It's about picking one. You know, people use them differently. I've had loads of feedback on these from women. Some of them use them in reading. Some of them use them in their women's groups. They use them to empower other women. Some women just buy them for themselves, their sisters, their daughters, and they just pick a card every day. They stand the card up. They read it over and over and over again. It's about changing our brains. You know, changing the neural pathways in our brains and creating these different pathways that change our thought patterns, so that when we start to go, oh God, yeah, I'm not good enough, actually I am. You know, look, I love this one. I think I'm the one. I'm the love of my life.
Oh yeah,
I
that's
am my
lovely.
own heroine. You know, actually, when we can remember that, we can know that it is the perfect day to be me. You know, we can remind ourselves that we are worthy and that we can stand up and go, yeah, I am amazing. And life, you have your ups and downs. It's not a constant state of euphoria of thinking that you're the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
But it's about knowing that we are goddess enough to know that we can rise, we can set our own boundaries, we can love ourselves, and we can honor other women, which for me, the goddess, I hate the word the goddess movement, but the goddess consciousness, for me, one of the main parts is about sisterhood. It's about loving ourselves. And when we love ourselves, we can love other women without jealousy, without bitterness, without competition, without anger, because we know that we're worthy enough. And when we've got that, we can lift other women up to feel the same. And it's about sisterhood. You know, without sisterhood, we're on our own, and that's not a nice place to be. And we don't have to be in that place. So yeah, that's what these cards are about. Loving yourself enough to then be able to lift other women up to love themselves. Yeah,
that is gorgeous. Like every card you were picking up and reading, I could feel my whole entire energy just going, oh yeah.
You know what, I could just I get really excited. You know, I have loads of my daughter says, oh, she tries to follow me on Instagram and support me, but she goes, oh, you share too much. You know, I have people saying to me, you put too many. I know I do. I really try and limit the amount of posts I do every day, but I get really excited. You know, I know how annoying it is to look at your post and go, oh, another one. But I just get, as I'm looking through these cards, each one resonates with me as well. You know, this is my soul right here. This one I love. I take up space. I'm proud. You know, this is my soul. Yeah. And I get really excited. I could sit here for the next 7 hours going, and look at this one, and look at this one, because I get excited about my artwork. I love what I've created, and I love the effect that it has on other women. It's I'm very over the top. I like it.
But do take up as much space as you want. That's like, it's one thing. I in my one-on-one especially work with clients, and I work with women specifically, and a lot of that, I'm just trying to take as little space as possible. You know, I'm just trying to make myself small so nobody sees me, hears me, or can say anything bad about me. And I hear that a lot, and I can recognize how I have been for a good portion of my life, definitely. And now it's like I want to take up that space. So if you want to share 100 posts every day, I mean, they're beautiful, and if someone projects that for them is too much, then look, whatever. No. That's your story, not mine.
It is, but you know what, taking up space is difficult, because I mean, in this I launched this project about 2.5 weeks ago.
Yes.
And it went totally crazy. It went absolutely ridiculous. You know, I really went above the radar with being seen. And that brings with it difficulty, you know. So I get what you're saying, because I've now got 7 trolls, which people keep saying, oh, don't worry about it. When you're seen, you have to open yourself up to the projections and this, that, and the other, which I get. But it's also really difficult, because, you know, when you're saying, I'm putting my soul out there, this isn't my job, this is my life path, this is my soul, this is my soul work to empower women. And you're getting really negative comments from other women, you know, saying, oh, I had one the other day saying, you're cashing in on people's misfortunes, or you haven't shown someone with a colostomy bag. Well, that's because someone hasn't sent me a picture with a colostomy bag. I can only paint what I'm giving. You know, you haven't done this. You're promoting obesity. That's another one. You're promoting people being fat. No, you've missed the point. You know, there's a lot of people who do miss the point, and a lot of men who inbox and say, oh, you know, send me a naked picture of yourself, and I block them, and then they, fuck you. Someone messaged me a couple of nights ago, because the content of my work is female nakedness, and then they seem to think that they can inbox you with quite revolting messages. You know, it's quite interesting being opened up, because this is the first. So, you know, I've only been painting a year. This goddess stuff's only been. It's so much has happened in the last year it's quite unbelievable. But it's also interesting, the fear, because I feel it, you know, I am strong and I do rise, but it's really difficult to come up against the negative stuff that you know, the other side of social media. The good side is that I've had, you know, thousands and thousands and thousands of positive comments, but in amongst that I've had 6 trolls that have really been quite nasty. So it's interesting that women do want to shrink themselves down, and actually the most of the trolls have been women themselves,
Yeah.
which is something quite difficult to be able to stomach, when my aim is to try and get women to stand together.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's difficult.
I
It's the other side of it,
definitely,
isn't it?
I definitely hear you on that. It has taken me years to actually just be able to put myself out there. I still remember it was actually a year ago. It was at this time a year ago that I did my first ever Facebook Live, and I remember holding the phone in front of me. I was there for about 15 minutes, sort of going, will I push this button or will I not, you know, like, and really feeling that pressure that the moment that I'm going to put my message out there, I'm going to have positive feedback, neutral,
Yeah.
and negative, and that is all part of it. But what I personally have learned to do is to lean into the sisterhood that you were mentioning, because as you said, the 6 negative, really negative trolls, and then there's thousands of women that have just created
Yeah.
this beautiful cushion for you to just go, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's where I can lean on. I have my sister
Yeah.
here.
It
And
is. It's so important.
yeah, it is.
But also, it's been really interesting for me as well, because obviously I started painting because of myself and lack of self-worth, lack of self-love. What I really, 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 really am adamant in getting out there to women is, I am a work in progress as well. You know, I don't stand back as an artist and go, I'm sorted, let me paint you and heal you. You know, I'm a part of the survivors group
Yes.
myself. There's paintings of me in there. You know, I'm on this journey with everybody else. I don't come from a place of, I'm the artist, I'm sorted, let me paint the minions. You know, it's I'm standing right next to you.
Yes.
I'm surviving with you. I'm having to get up every single day and survive my traumas. I am having to love myself as well. I'm having to work at that. It doesn't come naturally to me to
Yes.
love myself. I work at that. So it's been interesting for me, because the trolls have triggered me, and my inner voice, the second someone says something about, my inner voice goes, fuck it, I'm not good enough at this, you know, I'm just going to stop, you know, that is it, I'm taking the project down, I'm taking the video down. So I'm really going through this journey myself as well, about practicing what I preach, really, walking the talk. That, you know, I talk the talk, but am I walking the walk? I'm practicing every single day to think, actually, when I've got enough love within, they won't bother me. You know, the fact that at the moment I'm still upset by it. There was one woman last week who wrote something, I can't even remember what it was now, but I ended up entering into an argument with her about it, where I was justifying myself. And as I was doing it, I was thinking, what am I doing? I don't need to do it, you know, but there's still that part within that really gets triggered by these bad comments. So actually it's pretty much a gift for me that some people aren't always positive, because actually I'm feeling so deep within, why is this triggering? Why does it bother me when I've got 6,000 positive comments? Why is this one negative one triggering me and bothering me? So I'm on this journey, you know, I'm having to really delve deep here.
Yes.
And love myself, which is difficult, you know. So I'm in it with all these women. Every single woman I've painted, I'm in this journey with them, you know.
Yeah.
We're all just trying our best, aren't we? So it's been interesting for me as well to go through this project, not only to survive, but also to be able to then, like you say, take the projections, take the negative, take the neutral, even the neutral. I go, well, obviously it's not good enough if you don't love it. If you only like it, then what am I doing wrong because you don't love it? You know, it's a real journey for me
Yeah.
to embrace that side. The cat's back, so I'm going back to stroking.
That's okay.
Mister.
It's a very powerful message what you're after saying, I believe, for everyone, for all of us, for all the sisters listening to this. And look, this is going to be shared on my Free to Be the Goddess group, which is a women group, but it's also going to be shared. And there could be men watching this. So it's for everyone, really, that what comes as a negative feedback can be perceived as a gift, and I do get that. And also that we put ourselves in these positions where we put our work out, whether it's through your art, whether it's through my yoga and breath work, whether it's through these interviews or whatever a person puts out, that we are human beings as well.
Absolutely.
We are not
Absolutely.
perfect people.
Yeah.
We just
Yeah.
are, and we're still
100%.
vulnerable, and we still get wounded, and we still get doubts, and we still have fears. We all have that still.
Yeah. 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 And that's really, you know, yeah, it's a journey for me. It's been, this last couple of weeks has been amazing because the project has gone so well, but it's also been really testing because I've had to really step into my power and go deep within to find out why I get so upset when people aren't, you know, are being negative. And yeah, it's been interesting. But it's a gift, and I'm on this journey with them all, you know, with all of those women, with you, with every single woman out there. And when you said, you know, men will be watching this, I have men on my page comment, you know, I mentioned earlier, you know, I have men looking at it sexually. I also want to honour the men that don't look at it sexually. You know, there's a massive group of men out there who do honour goddess and who do honour goddess within woman. I've not found my perfect one yet, but that's fine because I'm on my journey. But there are, you know, I do honour the divine masculine as well. I do honour the God aspect of the jewel. You know, I'm Avalonian lineage, priestess of Avalon in training, you know, so I very much focus on goddess energy. But I also very much honour the fact that the male and the female, you know, we are equal, and there are a lot of men who do honour my work and who do understand it and who do get it. So although I mentioned earlier that there have been men that don't get it, that was generalizing. There are also, you know, I just want to highlight the fact there are men who really do get it and who really do honor women as goddess. I mean, it's part of my survival story that I've yet to have a really positive experience with a partner who's a male. You know, my relationships have tended to end hideously and they've never been the right person. But you know what? That's part of my journey, and I've been single now for 8 years, and I'm walking my goddess path, honouring men as well. You know, so it's not about saying feminism. People go, "Oh, if you're a feminist, then you hate men," and blah, blah. You know, it's not about that. It's about the sisterhood of women, but also, you know, honouring men as well, honouring the flow of life and everything that comes. You know, you just take it as it comes, don't you? And with your goddess consciousness, you work with what you've got. And yeah,
that's very true. No, I get that. It's a misconception I've come across many times, this because I absolutely love men. Like, I mean, I've had really difficult, abusive, complicated relationships, but I've also been blessed with meeting my life partner, and we have a beautiful relationship. So when we've even between each other have had discussions of but if you're a feminist, you hate men. But
hang on, sorry, there's a cat involved.
But that's not the case. It's just honoring and respecting the beauty of both, and what we're looking for is just the same amount of honoring and importance, and
exactly
freedom of expressing all the aspects, from the beauty to the sexuality to the feminine gifts and everything, you know, rather than just being boxed.
it's the balance, you know, it's
Yeah.
balance. And if things are in balance, life is beautiful. But sadly, at the moment, with the patriarchal society, we're not in balance.
Yeah.
But, you know, women are coming up and bringing our vibration up. But yeah, it is a misconception that if you're a feminist, you know, even the word feminist, I don't particularly like it.
No,
you know,
I don't really use it very much.
Because the second you say, I don't really use it at all, but my cat's headbutting the back of my phone on the tripod, so that's why I'm moving around. Bless him, he wants to be involved. The second you say that, he's called Mr. Big. Let me just, there we go.
Hello.
There's
Oh,
Mr.
hello.
Big. I know, bless him. The second you say or start talking about goddess, or you start honouring women, or so, you know, you hate men, you must hate, but that's rubbish. So I'd be really interested for the men watching this, you know, because my work is, I don't paint men simply because I just haven't, not because of any, I don't paint men because I hate men, because I'm a feminist, I just haven't painted any men. You know, but I have a lot of men follow my page, and a lot of them do honour goddess, and a lot of them do see what I'm doing, which is lovely. So yeah, the men that are watching this, I'd be interested to see
what they say and what they comment, and we'll invite them to comment and see.
Absolutely.
We have been here for an hour, so
No,
I could be here for.
I could talk. I did warn you.
Oh my God, I could be here all day. It's so good. I'm actually already. I'm feeling inspired that we could actually come back, and there's topics coming up that I think we could discuss, and it'd be amazing. But what I want to actually for you to share is, yes, so where can people find you? You know, if you have a website, I know you have your Facebook page, if you want to say anything about that, so that, you know, whoever listens to this now, I will also put stuff in the description anyways, but just
yeah, that would be lovely. Well, so what I'm doing, my website, I've just had a brand new website built, which is really exciting, and it's www.catshaw.art. Really simple, can't go wrong. My Instagram is Catshaw Artist, my Facebook page is Catshaw Artist, and my Etsy shop I also think is Catshaw Artist. But you can access my Etsy shop through the sorry, I've got a cat who's just leapt onto the TV stand. You can also access my Etsy page through my website, www.catshaw.art, which is really exciting. It's been an honour talking to you, and what I'd really love is if you, because I mean, you know, we've had this discussion already, as well as being pushed mentally and emotionally in this last couple of weeks from this project. I'm also being pushed technologically because I'm rubbish at technology, and I've made this video which is on my Facebook page to honour the Survivors Project. Come on. But I don't know how to share it onto YouTube or anything like that. So if you would like to share that video as well on your YouTube channel, that would be absolutely awesome, because I don't know how to do that. But hop over onto the page and have a look at the video. It's about 4 minutes long. It's the first video I've ever made, but I am proud of it. And it's there's my cat, and it just really honors these women, and it's got the dialogue that goes with it, and what I was thinking when I wrote it and everything, and when I did the project. So yeah, contact me, message me, even if you don't want a painting, message me. You know, women are messaging and just sharing their stories, and it's just really lovely to connect. It's really lovely to connect with people. Are you frozen?
No, oh no, you're back. Oh, you had a little bit, but it's okay. I could still hear your voice, so that's fine.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely contact me. It'd be lovely if you could share the video. It would just be lovely for women to feel like they had a sisterhood, you know, and especially this I'm not going to even begin talking about the phase that we're entering at the moment in the world, but I am going to be doing a lot more online stuff to connect to people. I'm going to be doing some online goddess ceremonies. I'm going to be doing some online meditations. I'm going to be doing some online goddess stuff and sisterhood stuff and survival stuff, just so that we don't feel like we're isolated, just so we don't feel like we're on our own. It's well, it's not funny. I was going to say it's funny. It's not funny, actually, but my whole ethos is about connecting women and making us not feel like we're on our own, and we're just about to go into a section of social isolation, aren't we? So it's even more important, the work I'm doing at the moment, to try and inspire people. So on my Facebook page, there's going to be lots more live videos and lots more ceremonies where we can all connect and we can all be together.
Yes, yes, that's powerful. Yeah, absolutely.
We need to, we need to we need to anyway, but especially this next couple of months, we really need to be keeping up our connection, because that's going to be the thing that gets us through. Connection and social media is the way that we're going to be able to do that. So
it's the good and bad about social media, but we have this power to actually connect and stay together. And I suppose your message in this was very appropriate for these times, because I mean your inspiration came from a period where you were forced to be homebound and you were forced to be with yourself and in a very challenging time, and you've actually created these amazing projects, and these all the inspiration came from it. So we have the capacity to choose the perspective that we want to be looking things with, and that's where I want to be. That's where I'm planning to be.
Well, exactly, because people are scared, and it's really important to try and utilize the time and to really go deep and to really think about things, and just know that we're not alone, which is the most important thing. So this connectedness, this sisterhood, this is really important at this time as well. So I won't carry on. Listen, you'll start me off on another subject. We'll be here for another hour. So
Right, so it was an absolute pleasure to have you, Kat, on the show, and I also to have your beautiful pets on the show with us as well today.
Yeah, do you know what? He's just bit me. He's just going, so he's actually getting a
you're not giving him enough attention.
My dog is sleeping in my lap. I'm not sure if you can see my lovely dog. He's my lap. Mr. Big's over there and Cass is over the other side. So it's been lovely speaking to you.
It has been an absolute pleasure. And so for everybody listening, just for any more video like this, subscribe to the channel and absolutely go look into Kat Show's Facebook page, website. It's worth it. And I'm going to share everything in the description of the video so you know where to find her. Have a wonderful day, and I wish you all the love. Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed, feel free to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more. Join our growing international sisterhood at Free to Be a Goddess on Facebook. Join a tribe of women free to be their beautiful, wild and sacred selves, safe and supported. Find the link in the description.